Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Today, we'll be playing another Tron list that recently 5-0'd. Notable about this one, no 6-mana Ugin, but triple O-Stone, also double Relic in the main, and we're going to see how we do with this one. Hopefully I've learned some lessons from how I've recently been playing Tron. Not being quite as aggressive on the mulligan dial there. Maybe dial it back to like 85% of how I used to mulligan. Still gonna mulligan aggressively, just not anywhere near as aggressively as I did. Wearing a new shirt today. Bright orange. Feel like a safety cone, honestly. Alright, round one, here we go. My webcam looks a lot smoother today, I'm not sure why. Natural Tron and a worm coil engine, I'll keep it. We can follow that up with a big walking ballista or something. This also gives us like 3 draws to actually hit a big threat. So opponent starts Urza's Tower. We draw Urza's Tower. Play Urza's Mine. It would appear we are in the mirror match. So in case my opponent has a Planeswalker, I'm actually going to play Walking Ballista on 1. I should have, I think by drawing the second tower, I should have actually played the tower. That way if my opponent had a Karn liberated, I could ping down one of them, or I could ping it down so he couldn't take 2 lands, and then there would be 0 chance of him being able to take me off of Tron before it mattered. But as long as they don't have Karn liberated, I think I'm okay here. Okay, opponent plays a Chromatic Sphere. Cracks Chromatic Sphere for green. Ancient Stirrings. They're only going to have 5 mana after this. They find Karn liberated. But we are going to be able to play Karn Great Creator. Opponent plays another Expedition map. So I've got bad news and I've got good news. The bad news is my opponent is going to play a Karn liberated. The good news is we should have a Karn Great Creator on the field when that happens. Okay, opponent will not be able to crack Expedition map, which is good. We are going to get Liquimetal Coating. We could get Sorcerous Spyglass. It's technically safer here by naming Karn liberated. But Liquimetal Coating will let me be able to keep my opponent off of Tron because they did not crack Expedition map in response. If my opponent cracked Expedition map and got another Urza's Tower, I would not be able to stop them from playing Karn liberated, and then they could take our Karn Great Creator with their Karn liberated. Karn. So hit them for 1, pass the turn. On their upkeep, shut off the tower. I guess the tower is the one they're most likely to have duplicates of, but if they still have another tower and they can play a Karn liberated, well, we might be in trouble. But if they can't, we can start blowing up lands and we'll be fine. 3 mana for our opponent. It's probably a Sylvan Scrying. If it is a Sylvan Scrying, we need to find another way to interact with our opponent's lands to guarantee victory here. The opponent does get a redundant Urza's Tower. They play a Chromatic Sphere that they cannot activate. Now I wonder if we should blow up a land that isn't Urza's Tower. Because we know they're holding a second one now. We draw a Blast Zone. What do we have in our sideboard here? Once again, could wish for Sorcerous Spyglass. That would probably be the safest play. I'm going to take out Urza's Mine, since they're holding a tower. Blow up the Urza's Mine. And we're going to play Tower and Worm Coil. We'll put a counter on Walking Ballista and hit them for 2. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent untaps. This appears to be another Sylvan Scrying. Oh, they were trying to activate map, but they can't. Nice! Alright, so we get them in game 1, which is pretty critical. We're going to bring in double Wilt, and we're going to go down All Is Dust and an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, both of which I feel like are not as good in the mirror match. In fact, I'm probably going to cut the other Ugin for a Thragtusk, just because I feel like Ugin is very bad in this matchup. We could cut Relic for our other Thragtusk, but I think, honestly, just going down those threats that were bad in this matchup is probably fine enough. Yeah, I don't think we need to do anything else. Alright, this hand is far too slow. We can mulligan this one. We have Relic, Cycle, and Cycle Wilt, and an Ancient Stirrings. I think I am going to keep this. I think the risk is going to be worth it. Especially on the draw where we're not favored to win at all. Natural Tron. Cool. Start Power Plant, Relic. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays an Urza's Mine, so they will have Tron. We draw Chromatic Star. So play Urza's Mine. Play Chromatic Star. And I'm going to pass. Now my logic on this is I want to crack Relic to draw. And if my opponent hits a Tron land with a Karn, I want to save Chromatic Star for green for Ancient Stirrings for the Tron land I don't have. I think that's going to be my best bet. If my opponent plays a Karn Liberated, the game's probably over. Okay, it is a Karn Liberated. They hit the Urza's Mine. So we'll crack Relic. We get Great Creator. We lose Mine. Untap. Draw Karn Liberated. Crack for green. Draw Chromatic Star. Play Chromatic Star. Play Tower. Crack for green. Forest. Ancient Stirrings. Another Power Plant, no Mine. Yeah, I guess I'll take the Power Plant. We would have to top deck Mine, and our opponent has to uptick Karn here. If they have anything else, this game's over. But sometimes that happens. You're just not favored on the draw in the Tron matchup. If your opponent assembles Tron and plays a threat before you do, then there's just nothing you can do. 8 mana. It is a big walking ballista. Well, we'll wilt it. Play a forest, cast Wilt. There's some chance, if my opponent is just completely out of steam, that we can get down a Karn Great Creator. Opponent pings us once, pings us twice, pings us 3 times, and pings us a 4th time. Okay. I'll probably scoop to the next threat that interacts with my mana. Alright, Worm Coil Engine. Opponent Sylvan Scrying. Gets a Ghost Quarter. We untap, we draw Oblivion Stone. Play Power Plant, play Sphere. Crack Sphere for green, we draw Tower. I guess I should have cracked Sphere first, but pass the turn. Opponent plays Ghost Quarter. Attacks us for 6, we go to 10. Untap, draw O-Stone. Play Tower. Play Great Creator. Wish. Honestly, I think I gotta get Ensnaring Bridge. Pass the turn. That might buy us enough time. Maybe. Really depends on how many dead draws my opponent hits. Get a forest. They play a tower. Pretty sure they gotta kill Karn, yep. We untap. Draw Chromatic Sphere, play out Sphere, play out Bridge, pass the turn. No need to crack Sphere right away. We want to make sure that we can keep playing out cards in hand. Opponent keeps bricking and drawing into lands. Draw Mine, play Mine, play O-Stone, pass the turn. Opponent plays another Urza's Mine. Passes. We untap. We draw Power Plant. Sack Star for green. Sylvan Scrying. We'll get a Tower. Play Tower. Play Karn Liberated. And because we have 2... I'm going to attack my opponent's mana first, because we also have an O-Stone kind of backing this up, and we're not dead to 1 Worm Coil swing. There was some notion that maybe I should have just plussed on myself, exiling Karn, and then restart the game with Karn. I think this is better. I'm not sure by how much or how little, but we'll find out. We draw a Blast Zone. Exile Tower. Play Power Plant. Play Karn. Uptick on my opponent's hand. We get a Sylvan Scrying, pass the turn. Opponent finds another tower. Plays Karn Great Creator. They can keep our Karn shut off with Liquid Metal Coating. I'm glad that this actually kind of turned out to be a game. Okay, opponent finds a Pithing Needle. And we cannot activate O-Stone to get rid of it. So they're going to name Karn Liberated. And play Expedition Map. We untap. We draw Thragtusk. Oh, you know what we can do? Play Blast Zone. Blow up all 1-drops. Opponent cracks Expedition Map. They get an Urza's Tower. Downtick, kill Karn. Play Thragtusk. Gain life. Pass the turn. Now on my opponent's end step, I will O-Stone, putting a counter on Karn. Opponent has their own O-Stone. So Fate counter up Karn. Opponent blows up everything but Karn. They get 2 tokens, we get 1. We untap, draw Chromatic Sphere, play Sphere, sack Sphere for green, draw Ancient Stirrings, get an Ulamog, rest of the bottom, and that should be the game. Play Ulamog, take out both towers, and we get the match. Whew! That game looked really bleak. I'm super, super happy with myself being able to play through that and actually find a way to come back and win. Moto, can you stop click noising, please? Alright, round 2, here we go. We'll play first. We can do better on 6. Way better on 6, evidently. I will keep this. I'm putting back Sylvan Scrying. And we're going to start mine, pass the turn. Okay. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn and passes. Draw Sylvan Scrying. Didn't I put you back? Play Power Plant, pass the turn. Put a crack Scalding Tarn and finds Raugrin Triome. Okay. They play Misty. We draw Expedition Map. Play Tower, and we're gonna just try and run out Karn Liberated. They could have Force. Game's over. Alright, so they're probably Uro. And they did not have a counterspell, so we won it on the spot. So versus Uro Omnath, Veil of Summer is gonna be coming in. And I'm gonna take out Walking Ballista, and I think an O-Stone. We're going to run it like this. Alright, not a keep. This looks like it might be, though, so we're going to keep this and put back Sphere. Opponent plays Ketria Triome. We start Power Plant, Expedition Map, pass. Okay. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn, passes. We draw Forest, play an Urza's Tower. And when my opponent cracks Scalding Tarn, I guess I could wait and see if my opponent has a Cleansing Wildfire, but I have this weird inclination right now to play around Tail's End, so I'm going to. Get an Urza's Mine, pass the turn. Opponent gets an Island and Growth Spirals, putting a Misty into play, cracking Misty for a Raugrin Triome. They untap and pass. We draw All Is Dust. So, play Karn, Liberated. This is the threat that wins the hardest. My opponent did miss a mana drop, and they played Mana Leak. Karn, Great Creator, technically plays around Mana Leak, but we can't play Karn and then play something else off of Karn. Okay, opponent plays Wrenn and 6, picks up Misty, plays Misty, and passes. We untap and draw Chromatic Sphere. Play a Forest, play Karn, downtick with Karn, uses ability, and we are going to wish for... We're going to go for the Liquid Metal Coating. Play Coating. Trying to play around a Remand here. If they have a hard counter spell, like a Mana Leak, I will cast Ancient Stirrings. Okay, they get an Island. Mana Leak. Okay, well, we can't pay for that. So play Chromatic Star. Crack it for green. We draw Oblivion Stone. Then we get Ancient Stirrings. And I guess we'll just take a redundant tower. That shouldn't help make things easier to cast. Pass the turn. I'd really like to draw a Sundering Titan. I think that'd be great. I mean, I'd like to draw a Veil of Summer to be able to resolve a Sundering Titan. Sundering Titan's not in our deck. We have to wish for it. Alternatively, Ulamog would be good. Opponent plays an Omnath. Well, if they don't have a way to kill Karn Great Creator this turn... I mean, they probably do, because what my opponent will do is they'll pick up a fetch land, play the fetch land, crack the fetch land, and probably play Uro. But if they don't hit that third land drop this turn, they are probably screwed. If they kill Karn Great Creator, we'll just fire off all his dust. When it gets a Steam Vents untapped, adds a bunch of mana. Cleansing Wildfire, Urza's Power Plant. Get a Forest. Well, if we top deck Power Plant and they don't have any other land drops to kill Karn Great Creator, I think we got him. Opponent picks up a land, or they ping Karn. Okay. We untap. Draw Wormcoil Engine. Play Chromatic Sphere. Crack it for green. Ancient Stirrings. No Power Plant, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Karn Great Creator, rest of the bottom, play a tower, wish. We're going to get Ensnaring Bridge, play Ensnaring Bridge, pass the turn. I guess that still allows Omnath to attack, but... I did not account for the draw off of Sphere. If we had hit Power Plant there, we would have cast all his dust, I think. And I wouldn't have wished with Karn. I think I would have just upticked. We're kind of okay with sacrificing Karn because my opponent's probably going to have enough land drops to just kill him anyway. Okay, so opponent's going for the second land drop to get a ton of mana. Mystic Sanctuary, they're putting Cleansing Wildfire on top of their deck. They play Teferi Time Raveler, bounce Ensnaring Bridge. They kill our mine, we get a forest. They attack us for 4. And we can't come back without casting All His Dust or O-Stone. So start by playing map. Cracking map. Getting a mine. Play a mine. Play Oblivion Stone. Okay, opponent has a Cryptic. If they Cleansing Wildfire us, as long as we draw a land, we could still cast All His Dust. But if they have a counter for the All His Dust, we're just done. There's nothing else we can do. The microphone's being weird again. Opponent upticks to Teferi. Mystic Sanctuary. Putting Cryptic Command on top. Well, if they have any way to draw a card, I think that's it. Yep. That's game. Alright. Going into game 3. I think as long as we have a fast hand and our opponent either, if we have a Veil to protect our threat and our opponent doesn't have a Cleansing Wildfire, we should be fine. So let's hope. Alright, we will play first. This is, I think, slightly too slow for my liking. It's not terrible. Relic might be able to keep some of what they're doing under control. Prevent Mystic Sanctuary shenanigans and stuff. I'm going to go to 6. Okay, I like this better. We'll put back Ancient Stirrings. So our primary game plan is turn 2 Sylvan Scrying, turn 3 Karn. We have a Relic if our opponent has enough interaction to stop that. Opponent plays Flooded Strand. So we play Power Plant, crack Star for green, Draw Sylvan Scrying. Sylvan Scrying. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Probably gets a Ketria Triome unless they have a Spell Snare or a Spell Pierce, which is possible, but I don't know how likely that is. I don't know if Uro Omnath actually plays those cards. It's possible with enough of Uro Omnath running around that we would be playing against at least one player that does. But they just get a Triome, so Sylvan Scrying, get a Tower, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Flooded Strand and they pass. We untap. Draw Power Plant. Play a Tower. Honestly, I'm not going to play Karn yet. Play out a Relic. Exile our opponent's Flooded Strand. Play Chromatic Star. Pass the turn. We're going to see if we can stop our opponent's land buybacks for a little bit here. Because like our opponent is going to have to play something. They can't just sit on counter spells this entire game, I don't think. And if we draw a Veil of Summer next turn, we can play Karn through at least one piece of interaction. Our opponent would need a counterspell and like Force. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand, cracks Flooded Strand. They get a Breeding Pool. They play Wrenn and 6. Okay. I'm not going to let them buy back a land. We draw Power Plant. Okay. We untap. Draw second Karn Liberated. Play Karn. Take our opponent off of white mana. And the game is over. By playing patiently, we got there. Opponent thought we had no threats, and we were able to stick a threat. I think I'm getting into the right mindset to actually play Tron at a better level than I was. Because before I was kind of just jam Tron, and now it's like, well, jam Tron about 85% of the time, and the remaining 15% you need to think about it just a little bit more. So I will see you all in round 3. All right, round 3, here we go. All right, well, we have better 6s than this. Almost. This is really close. I'm going to go to 5. All right, yeah, 4 time. 3! Okay. So what we will do is we are going to keep Urza's Mine, Ancient Stirrings, and Chromatic Sphere, I believe. Things are not looking good. Opponent starts Talaria West, so they are probably Simic Titan. Play Urza's Mine, play Chromatic Sphere, pass the turn. They could also be the blue Living End deck. They could be As Foretold. They are the Titan deck. Had it right on the first call. Opponent plays a Simic Growth Chamber, picks it back up. Holy crap. Alright, well, I don't think there's anything we can do about this. Not unless we're playing a Ghost Quarter somewhere, I don't know. I think I'm going to Ancient Stirrings now. Alright, well, that's not what I wanted. We'll take Chromatic Sphere, rest of the bottom. Players is mine. Play Chromatic Sphere. And like my only hope is that my opponent is just holding nothing but lands at this point and doesn't draw anything else somehow. We could have taken a forest. That may have been more correct, but I kind of want to cycle through my deck a little bit more if I can. The fact that my opponent is playing their Simic Growth Chamber now is indicative that we're probably dying to like a Titan or Turn Timber Symbiosis. They could whiff on Turn Timber Symbiosis. It's not impossible. They play Dryad. So now my opponent can untap Growth Chamber 3 times, and then pick up Talaria West, transmute, and get Titan. Give it haste and kill us. That's pretty gross, not gonna lie. Amulet of Vigortron. 3 amulets. Oh, they just had Titan. They don't even need to transmute. I mean, they could if they want to. They could play a second Titan and then give them both haste. Like, they could transmute Talaria West, have gotten like 2 more bounce lands. They're not going to, and we are super dead. My opponent has so much mana, it's ridiculous. Alright, so we know what we're up against. I'll bring in Spatial Contortion, I'll bring in Dismember, I'm going to cut an Oblivion Stone. I'm actually going to cut 2 Oblivion Stones for that. And I'm going to drop both Relics for Wilts. And we're going to run it back. Spatial Contortion, and, well, I'm not actually going to run Spatial Contortion, I'm going to run Relic instead. I think I would rather have the cantrip. Spatial Contortion can kill the, like, Soccer Tribe Scout and, like, Azusa, but Dismember can kill the 2/4 along with Wilt, and I think that's the more important creature to be able to kill. Alright, we'll play first. It's not guaranteed, but it is a pretty good chance at Tron. Play Power Plant, play Sphere. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Forest, plays an Amulet. Okay, we untap. Draw Expedition Map. Crack Sphere for green. Draw Star. Play Star. Play Tower. Sack Star for green. We draw Power Plant. Ancient Stirrings, let's see if we can find a mine. We do not find a mine, but we do find a Karn Liberated. So take Karn, rest to the bottom, pass the turn. Problem is this is a turn 4 Karn, and I think we needed a turn 3 Karn to actually beat our opponent. Second Amulet. Opponent is really good at drawing amulets, which is very, very strong. And we draw the Urza's Mine. Play Karn Liberated. And the question is, do we hit Amulet or do we hit Castle? And I think we have to hit Amulet. If we hit Castle, my opponent could still play, like, Bounce Land, untap it twice, which is very strong. Next turn, we can Expedition Map up Blast Zone, take out the other Amulet, and Karn away Castle or something like that. So, play Expedition Map. Crack Expedition Map. Get Blast Zone. Play Blast Zone. Crack Blast Zone. When it cracks Misty, it's a Breeding Pool tapped, untaps it. And I'm actually going to exile a card out of my opponent's hand now. Attacking their mana might still be correct, but I feel like if we give up Karn here, we just have nothing. Play Relic. We got a Groll Turf out of their hand. Exile a card from their grave. Pass the turn. So I don't think my opponent can play a Titan here. Not without another third Amulet hand. Opponent plays a Groll Turf, picks up their Forest. Plays an Arboreal Grazer, replays Forest. Arboreal. We untap. Draw Chromatic Sphere. Start by cracking Relic. Okay. Exile Groll Turf, because it's a bounce land. Play Chromatic Star. Sack it for green and draw. Play Power Plant. Play Chromatic Sphere. Sack for green and draw. Okay, now we just play Worm Coil. Alright. Pass the turn. If our opponent ever misses a land drop, I'm pretty sure it's over. Opponent plays a Dryad. Dryad is quite threatening. Draw an Urza's Mine. So play Sphere. Crack Sphere. Play Sphere. Crack Sphere. Play Star. Crack Star. Play Oblivion Stone. Play a Mine. I really want to hit Castle Garenbrig, but I'm going to take out Dryad here. Because that way I can down-tick Karn this turn and still attack. We have Oblivion Stone activation if anything were to go wrong. And we can put a Fate counter on Karn to keep him alive through a Stone activation. Opponent has a Force of Vigor. What did they exile? Primetime? Okay, we'll put a Fate counter on Karn. They kill Wormcoil. So we get some artifact creatures. Opponent loses Dryad. They have one card in hand. And we have an active Karn. So opponent untaps. Plays a Gruul Turf, picks up a forest. We untap. Draw Expedition Map. Uptick on our opponent. They probably give us whatever's not a forest. They give us the forest. Alright, play a forest. Play Expedition Map off of Urza's Tower. Crack Expedition Map. Get a tower. Just to have a redundant one. In case my opponent were to have a Ghost Quarter off the top. Not that I think that would do anything really, but opponent blocks the Lifelinker, takes 3 from the Death Touch. Loses Grazer. Opponent plays a forest. Last card, Primetime. Yep. Okay, well we can downtick on Primeval Titan. Opponent probably has to get a Field of the Dead and something else. They could get like Field of the Dead Valakut. That way if they draw Dryad and they have a land, could be good. They get Simic Growth Chamber. We untap, draw another tower, exile Primetime, play a tower, go to combat, attack for 6. Still really scary. Until we find a way to actually win this game on the spot, we could still lose it. This opponent has a land in hand and 1 unknown. Oh, they probably are transmuting Talaria here. That's the other land that they got. Opponent Summoner's Pact. They get a Dryad. They play Dryad. They play Valakut to kill Karn. Okay. Well, we are very much in danger right now. We untap, draw another Expedition Map, go to combat, attack our opponent for 6. Opponent blocks the Lifelinker, goes down to 7. Play map, activate map, get a Sanctum of Ugin, play out Sanctum, pass the turn. We've top decked so many lands. So opponent has to pay for Pact. But now every land they draw is a Lightning Bolt. They're leaving up mana to transmute Talaria. If they have another one, I guess it doesn't matter. All their lands are rainbow lands. They play a Simic Growth Chamber. They kill a token. They can bounce a land and then replay it to kill the other token. Now they're playing a grindy game. Growth Chamber bounces Growth Chamber. Opponent hits us down to 27. We untap. Draw Karn, Great Creator. Well, that should do it, because we can just get Walking Ballista and kill our opponent. Play Karn. Wish. Get Walking Ballista. It would have been fun to get Sundering Titan here, it's just worse. Alright, so we'll be on to game 3. No adjustments. Yeah, we got a mulligan this hand. I guess I'm going to 5. That hand is like, okay. Yep, going to 4. I should have kept that. Should have kept the 5, or the 6, I think. Alright, I could try and work with this. Put back O-Stone, put back Blast Zone, and I guess we put back Karn, Great Creator at this point. Opponent starts Misty Rainforest. And they just fetch up a forest to start. Alright. Second Tron piece, that's encouraging. Start mine, play Sphere, pass the turn. Don't really have to worry about cracking Sphere too early because we have an actual forest. Opponent plays a Misty, picking up forest. Draw Karn Liberated, so we just need a tower now. Crack mine for green, we draw Wilt. Ancient Stirrings. No tower, unfortunately. I'm gonna take Star. Rest to the bottom. Play Power Plant. Play Star. That gives me an extra draw at hitting a tower, as well as allows me to play a Wilt next turn. Opponent plays a Dryad of the Elysian Grove and another bounce land. We untap, draw Power Plant, crack Star for green, draw Ugin, cast a Wilt, play Power Plant, pass the turn. Opponent explores. If we draw a tower and Karn can nab a bounce land, this game is pretty much over. But if my opponent can ramp out a bunch of lands here, or play a Titan, I think we've lost. Opponent Summoner's Pact, another Dryad, and then they play Valakut. We untap, draw Wormcoil Engine, play a forest, pass the turn. Opponent has to pay 4. We need a tower so bad. They play a forest, hit us for 3. They attack us for 2, go to 15, untap, draw Chromatic Star, play Chromatic Star, sack Star for green, draw Sanctum of Ugin, play Sanctum. I guess we're a land away from Wormcoil, but pretty sure my opponent has a Titan. Because when I think out of all the times I played against this deck, maybe like twice they've gotten to 6 mana and not had a Titan. They have a Titan. Between Turn Timber Symbiosis and Summoner's Pact and Titan itself, they never not have a Titan. I guess if we're not somehow dead, which they can't get the Titan to attack this turn, but they can get like 2 bounce lands and then just play 2 lands and attack for 2, that might be lethal. If it's somehow not, Ugin might be enough. Maybe. Okay, bounce land, Onweir Garrison. Oh, they can just replay Onweir Garrison now. And then give Titan haste and we die. Well, you know, I think we played valiantly. And it's possible I should have kept the hand with more spells in it. But we had 1, 2, 3... 8, 13 looks to get a tower, and we didn't. So I'm going to chalk that one up to variance, really. But I'll see you guys in round 4. Yeah, round 4. Alrighty, round 4. Here we go. We'll play first. Natural Tron, Karn into Ugin. So that seems pretty good. Alright, starters is mine. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Breeding Pool tapped. Play Power Plant. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays an island, passes, draw forest, play tower, play Karn. Opponent growth spirals. Puts a flooded strand into play. Karn, gonna wish, and we're gonna get Trinisphere. Play Trinisphere. Pass the turn. Looks like we're against Uro Omnath again. They fetch up another breeding pool. Maybe not. This could be like Bant Snow, I guess. But it plays a 3 mana Explorer, plays a Scalding Tarn, we untap, draw Wormcoil, players is mine, wish, get a Sundering Titan, play Sundering Titan, take out our opponent's breeding pools. That kind of sounds like a euphemism, I guess. But Mystic Sanctuaries, putting Growth Spiral on top of their deck. Sundering Titan enters. Choose an island and a forest. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a forest. We untap. Draw an expedition map. Play forest. Uptick Karn. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Do I even do anything else? I mean, my opponent probably has Cryptic. Just pass. I'm not even going to cast anything else. Okay, they Growth Spiral. Putting in a Flooded Strand. Flooded Strand, they sack. They get a Breeding Pool. Play an island. We untap. Draw Chromatic Star. What do we have out of our sideboard? Walking Ballista? That would kill our opponent. Start by going to combat. Attack for 7. Opponent goes to 3. Play a forest. Play Wormcoil. Opponent remands Wormcoil. Okay, play an expedition map. Uptick Karn. Pass the turn. Cycles a Shark Typhoon X1. Okay. Opponent plays an island. Plays an Uro. Okay, gains life, loses Uro, puts a land into play. So now they're going to reanimate Uro, I guess. And then we're going to follow this up with Ugin -3, win the game. So this looks like 2-color Uro, or like some kind of Simic Shark Typhoon control. They don't have a second green source for Uro. I play Jace. Okay. Brainstorm. Pretty sure they're just dead to Ugin. I think my opponent is banking on Shark to block in desperation. Alright. Cool. What do we want versus our opponent's deck? They have Shark Typhoons and counter spells. So I guess I want Veil of Summer and maybe Dismember. Go down an Oblivion Stone, and an Oblivion Stone, and I think a Wormcoil. Try it like this. Mulligan. Alright, yeah. I'll get behind this one. This seems good enough for me. Put back Sylvan Scrying, I think. I think if I'm going to use green mana, it's going to be to protect something from a counterspell with Veil. Opponent starts Scalding Tarn. We untap, draw second map. Play Mind Map, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Forest and passes. We play a Tower, pass the turn. And to play around Tail's End, I'm going to crack when my opponent cracks their Scalding Tarn. Get Power Plant. I've run into a few decks like that were kind of jank playing Tail's End recently. And yeah, I'm sure Ice Fang Quaddle or Growth Spiral is way more likely, but I don't know. Alright, well, Field of Ruin will slow us down, but it will give us green mana for Veil, so all in all, it will help us protect whatever 7-mana threat we end up playing. Opponent hits us for 1, we untap. Opponent is going to field us on our upkeep. Taking out Urza's Mine, play a forest. We draw Sylvan Scrying. So play a Power Plant. Sylvan Scrying for mine. And play out an Expedition map. Okay. Next turn we have Karn plus Veil backup. Opponent untaps. Second Field of Ruin into a Wilderness Reclamation. Alright, now stuff is happening. Opponent attacks us for 1. Untaps all their lands. We untap all our lands. Opponent hits our Power Plant. Get a forest. Crack map for Power Plant. Draw for turn. Another map. Play Power Plant. Play map. Pass the turn. Kind of at the point where we're almost going to have to lead with All Is Dust. Opponent cycles an Ice Fang Quaddle. By that I mean plays it. Opponent plays an island, plays a Growth Spiral. I guess this is going to be a Nexus. Plays an Uro. Okay. It's not quite a Nexus yet. They miss a land drop. They attack us for 2. On their end step, opponent untaps all their lands. Don't think I'm going to crack map yet. We untap. Draw Ancient Stirrings. So the question is, do we play All Is Dust or do we play Urza's Mind? Or do we play Karn? And I think we play All Is Dust. Because it's the only way our opponent is ever going to, like, tap out. Play Veil. Okay, opponent growth spirals in response. Probably looking for another force. They didn't find a land. We Veil through the force. All Is Dust makes them sack all their non-land permanents. Then we Ancient Stirrings. We find a Blast Zone. Rest to the bottom. Okay, pass the turn. And now we're just going to jam threats until we can't. Opponent plays a Mystic Sanctuary, putting Force of Negation on top of their deck. Okay. And they're going to play Uro. And they'll have Force of Negation back up. Okay. We untap. Draw an Ulamog. Play Blast Zone. Joke's on you. Ulamog cannot be forced. Take out Uro. And a Forest. That's kind of a lucky top deck for us. Opponent plays a Misty. Cracks Misty. Gets a Breeding Pool, untapped. We untap. Draw Ancient Stirrings. Go to combat. Attack with Ulamog. Exile the top 20 cards of our opponent's deck. We hit Nexus of Fate. Hit our opponent down to 12. Crack Expedition Map. Get a tower. Play tower. Play Karn, Great Creator. Opponent forces. They forced pitching a Growth Spiral. They're not spending any of their mana. Interesting. Play Karn. Opponent Factor Fictions. Alright, you can have Force of Negation, or you can have, I guess the rest. No, the rest of that pile is pretty good. But the rest of that pile also does not answer an Ulamog on board. Okay. They take the pile of 4 so they can remand our Karn. Ancient Stirrings. Take a Chromatic Star. Rest to the bottom. Play Chromatic Star. Pass the turn. They have to stop an Ulamog from attacking or they lose. So they need to have a Cryptic command. Opponent activates Field. Get another Forest. Opponent fails to find. Passes. We untap. Draw Wormcoil. Go to combat. Opponent is going to bounce Ulamog. Presumably draw. Okay. So now we're going to cast Karn into a Force. Start by sacking this for green in case I draw a Veil. That would make me play small Karn instead. Play big Karn. Opponent has to force probably pitching an Archmage's Charm. They do not. Take out Breeding Pool. Pass the turn. I'll be kind of annoyed if they somehow win with like Thassa's Oracle or something like that. Opponent plays a Mystic Sanctuary, putting Cryptic on top. I guess they used the force they drew, and I just forgot about it. Okay, we untap. Draw an Ugin. Uptick on our opponent's hand. Opponent gives us an Archmage's Charm. Play Karn, Great Creator. Opponent probably is going to like Cryptic, counter, and bounce big Karn, or something like that. I actually don't know. Okay, they let Little Karn resolve. So we wish. Yeah, I'm going to play out Trinisphere. try and tax my opponent if I can. Opponent Archmage's Charm to draw cards. Growth Spirals. Mystic Sanctuary, putting probably Force on top. Another Archmage's Charm on top. Okay. So my opponent has Archmage's Charm plus Cryptic. I wonder if they want run 1 Nexus or 2. It's kind of a big question that needs to be answered. Cryptic bounces Big Karn. Mystic Sanctuary, putting Cryptic on top of their deck. Okay. We untap, we draw Ancient Stirrings, so we're going to start with Ancient Stirrings. Find a Relic. Take Relic, rest to the bottom. Play Relic. Archmage's Charm, they counter it, so they're still holding Cryptic. Wish with Karn. I guess I'll take Sundering Titan. Because that's something I can play that destroys 2 lands with any land that I draw, but they still have Cryptic. I'd like to draw another Urza's Mine so I can just Ulamog them out of the game. Opponent plays Jace the Mind Sculptor. Fate Seals. I don't know about that. We untap. Draw Worm Coil. Animate Trinisphere. Go to combat. Attack Jace. Play Karn Liberated. Yeah, something tells me I might get Lab Manned. Or, Thassa's Oracled. Okay, opponent Cryptics. Counter bouncing Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, Mystic Sanctuary, putting Cryptic on top. We're going to unsummon Trinisphere. Play Uro to draw Cryptic. We untap. Draw Chromatic Star. Wish with Karn. Use... We'll take Sorcerous Spyglass. Replay Spyglass. Or just play Spyglass, I guess. Opponent is struggling with this. Because if they let this resolve, they can't counter and bounce. They would have to bounce and counter, or they would have to like bounce Spyglass and counter. So yeah, they can only counter bounce one thing. Okay. Play Star. Crack Star for green. See what we draw. Sylvan Scrying. Sylvan Scrying. Get a Mine. Play Mine. Tron reassembled. Play Karn, Great Creator. Now we can wish. Get, I think Walking Ballista to just ping Jace, honestly. Ballista. I could have gotten Liquimetal Coating, and that may have been better. Just denying them a land, but if we can kill the Planeswalker, we should probably kill the Planeswalker. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Draws Cryptic. Or, actually, okay. Plays Mystic Sanctuary, puts Cryptic on top. They did not draw Cryptic. We untap. We draw Chromatic Star. Ulamog. Hitting Forest and an Island. Okay, opponent Archmage's Charm. Floats green. Pass to second main, so they lose the green mana. Play out Star. Animate Star. And play a Trinisphere. Okay, opponent remands Trinisphere, drawing Cryptic. Draws for turn. Plays Misty. Cracks Misty. Fails to find. They only have 4 cards left in their deck. I'm not sure how they could possibly win this. They are holding a Cryptic command, so there's that. We already exiled their Nexus of Fate. which may have been what they were banking on, but I think we've attacked their mana enough. I'm running out of things to wish for. Okay, wish. Get liquid metal coating. Sack star for green. Draw another star. Play star. Sack star for green. Draw Ugin. Play coding. Opponent cryptic. Counters and draws. Play Sundering Titan. We'll have to destroy an island and one of our forests. Then we'll play Trinisphere. We basically have to hope that our opponent does not have Thassa's Oracle. I'm really thinking that's like the only way they could win. Okay, we untap. Draw Walking Ballista. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Hit our opponent down to 7. We do not have 14 mana. We have 13 because I sacked a land to Sundering Titan. So play Wormcoil. Oh, actually, I should put Ballista out on 3. So if this gets like mana leaked or something, that's a problem. Because if we can kill Oracle in response to its ability, they have to have exactly 0 cards in library to win. Okay, pass the turn. Oh, I also could have animated Trinisphere and attacked, I guess, as well. Yeah, I guess opponent may have just been fighting that out till the bitter end, so I'll see you guys in round 5. Alright, well, we have turn 3 Tron on the draw, but we only have Ulamog. We do get 1 redraw off Chromatic Sphere, so I think this is worth keeping, even though it's not the most amazing hand that Tron has ever troned, but opponent starts Wooded Foothills. We draw Wormcoil Engine, so we will have something to play on the turn of the Tron. Play Chromatic Sphere, opponent cracks Wooded Foothills and finds Stomping Ground tapped. So this is either Ponza or Red-Green Valakut, or it's probably Ponza. Wrenn and 6. Okay, this could also be, I guess this is technically, it looks kind of like Ponza. All Is Dust could be super useful here. Players is Sour. Sack Sphere to add green. Get an Expedition map. Sylvan Scrying. Get a Power Plant. Pass the turn. So if my opponent goes big, we can All Is Dust to reset the board. Opponent plays a Forest. Into a Blood Moon, because of course they have Blood Moon. They always have Blood Moon. They pick up their land. They don't really have a clock yet. And we just drew an Oblivion Stone. So play Power Plant. Play O-Stone. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land, plays a Chandra, hitting Windswept Heath. So this is like red-green mid-range. They ping us for 1. That's scary. We draw Karn, so play a Forest. Play out Karn. Wish. And I'm going to get Walking Ballista, because I kind of want a backup plan if this fails. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. Upticks Chandra, hits Bloodbraid Elf. Casts Bloodbraid Elf. With my luck, they'll wheel into it a Braid. Okay, they don't. It's a Seasoned Pyromancer. So they discard 2 cards. Utopia Sprawl, Wrenn and 6. And they ping us with Wrenn and 6. Attack Karn for 3. Okay, we untap. Draw an Urza's Mine. Play Urza's Mine, and I'm not going to give my opponent the ability to activate Planeswalkers or any shenanigans like that. We're just going to nuke the whole board right now. So O-Stone is generally good versus decks that play Blood Moon, because it's an 8 mana board wipe planar cleansing effect, but at the very least it does let you split that 8 mana across 2 turns, which is very important. Opponent fetches up 2 forests. Plays a second Blood Moon and a Klothys. So we untap, play a forest, play an expedition map, crack expedition map. I'm gonna get another tower, I think. Then I'm gonna play a walking ballista on one. I need to guarantee I get the 7th land to be able to cast All Is Dust next turn. This opponent's going to exile our expedition map to drain us for 2. Opponent plays an Arbor Elf, passes. We draw Ancient Stirrings, play tower. Cast All Is Dust. Opponent floats red mana. Opponent activates Seasoned Pyromancer to get some tokens. Pass the turn. I mean, next turn, if my opponent doesn't have a 3rd Blood Moon, we'll at least get to cast Ulamog. Are you kidding me? 3 Blood Moons? Alright. Well, Wormcoil Engine time. Opponent plays an Arbor Elf, attacks us for 2. I'm not scared of an Arbor Elf, so we'll take 2. Untap, draw Power Plant, play Power Plant, Ancient Stirrings, get a Chromatic Sphere, rest to the bottom. Play Wormcoil, play Sphere. Okay, opponent cannot beat a Wormcoil from that position. Jeez! Alright, Wilt's in. Spatial Contortion and Dismember in as well. We are dropping 1 Ulamog, because it is very expensive. We're going to drop Relics, because I don't think they help that much. And we're going to go down, I think, 1 Ugin. I could bring in the Thragtusks here. This would be a reasonable deck to bring in Thragtusk against. This is another sketchy hand, but we do have Oblivion Stone. It's just they're going to have more artifact destruction post-board. I think I got a mulligan. This hand is not good either. I mean, we at least have Dismember and Forests. Go on to 5. Alright, I will keep this hand. I'll put back a Mine and a Blast Zone. Opponent starts Windswept Heath. We draw Karn. Players is mine. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Windswept Heath. Stomping Ground tapped. Untaps. Plays a forest. Utopia Sprawl on the forest, naming red. Passes. We draw Karn, Great Creator. Players is tower. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills and cracks it to go get a forest. Bloodbraid Elf into a Seasoned Pyromancer. Sure. They discard Seasoned Pyromancer Chandra and hit us for 3. Alright, Power Plant, please. Sylvan Scrying. Play a forest. Let's go get Power Plant. We have Wilt if they have Blood Moon. Otherwise, we're going to play and activate O-Stone. I think the thing that would suck the most is if my opponent had a land destruction spell into a Blood Moon, hitting our forest. That would be the worst, I think. Alright, second Power Plant. So play Power Plant. Play O-Stone. Pass the turn. And I'm not worried about them playing a Blood Moon after we crack O-Stone, because we can then, in a single turn, Wilt and play Karn Liberated. If they had double Blood Moon, that might be a problem, but it cracks Wooded Foothills, gets a Stomping Ground tapped, nuke the planet, pass the turn, opponent untaps. Don't know what's happening, hang on. Okay, opponent played a land and then played Blood Moon. We untap, draw Ancient Stirrings, play Power Plant, Wilt Blood Moon. Opponent only has 1 card left in hand. So it kind of matters if that last card is Bolt, but it isn't. So we get 5 treasure chests as our opponent scoops it up, giving us the 4-1. That's 2 consecutive 4-1s with Tron. I feel like I've been playing better with it, and it might be in a slightly better place in the meta. So let's open up our treasure chest, shall we? And then I'll talk about the deck. Treasure chest number 1, we get 35 play points and a Seafloor Oracle. Nice. That is above the average. Treasure chest number 2, we get 10 play points and a Royal Elemental. Treasure chest number 3, we get 5 play points, a Song of Creation, and a Vidalcan Orrery. Treasure chest number 4, 35 play points, and an Anafenza Kintree Spirit. I don't think she's worth anything. She was part of the Mono-White Persist combo for a while. And treasure chest number 5, we get 10 play points, a Canyon Yerboa Vanguard Avatar, and an Everquill Phoenix. Alright. Nothing too crazy, but so for this variation of Tron, this one was another more standard list, and one of the things I want to call out immediately is the fact that this list runs 3 Oblivion Stones and an All Is Dust, and several times during the league, Oblivion Stone or All Is Dust did work, most notably against our Blood Moon opponent. Being able to Oblivion Stone versus a opponent playing Blood Moon is pretty huge, because if they don't immediately play a threat and you're not under immediate pressure, you should have time to play out an O-Stone, then untap, like play a land, and then play or activate Oblivion Stone. Or in the situation you're on 4 mana, you can play it, untap it, play a land, and then blow up the world, and you're fine. I like this distribution of threats. I think with this many board wipes, 2 Ugins and All Is Dust and 3 Oblivion Stones, I don't think you need 6 mana Ugin. I don't think you need to load up on Wormcoil Engines. Walking Ballista was nice. It was kind of a curve filler in this one because the threat cost is a little on the high side with 2 Ulamog's and 2 Ugins, and O-Stone, of course, not being a 7 mana activation. But sideboard was fine. I didn't really miss anything as far as other lists that I've played. This list did have Tritosphere, which I did like. It was very nice versus the Simic opponent to shut off their Force of Negations and force them to play 3 mana Rampant Growths and stuff like that. I think that was pretty critical in beating them in the first game. I'm really glad that I went for that as opposed to just getting a Liquid Metal Coating, which would not have had the same effect versus them. I like 2 relics in the main. I'm not really missing the Maze Mine Tomes right now. I was really big on them before, but I think they're only good in the absolute best case where you're playing, you have Natural Tron, Maze Mine Tome, and a threat. They're insane in that hand, and they're also insane in hands where you don't have anything. And this list kind of very rarely had a hand that you don't have anything in. Our luck has been a little bit better. We did mulligan down to 3 and 4, I think, 1 time a piece. And the remainder of the time we were on 5 or 6. And a couple of hands of 7 that we kept that were actually really good. Other than that, I don't think I have anything to say about the deck. I think this list is totally solid, and this would be a great starting point if you wanted to get into the modern metagame currently. And yeah. So if you like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, I hope to see you there. You guys are awesome. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye!